before we get into the nitty-gritty, I have a no shelf control segment again.
Oh, God.
Wow. Okay.
So, do you remember my 5-star book, House of Frank?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
They did like a little special edition, and it's got like a little shimmery, shiny guy. And then,
Oh,
Cute.
that's cool.
did anyone else buy books?
I actually didn't.
I did not.
I bought a lot of books since we last spoke. So,
Oh,
well, like some Sarah J. Maas books for Melissa, for my fiance.
Right.
I've read some thriller books since we've last spoke. So I read The Silent Patient. I read what's the other Riley Sager book? I'm halfway through
House
it right now.
Across the Lake.
I'm reading that currently.
I like that one.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of like dipping my toes lightly into some thrillers.
Yeah, he's a reader. Okay.
Are you a physical book girly? These are all books that you've bought?
I'm a physical book girly, yes. Melissa,
Wow.
she's all Kindle. She has the whole setup where she has a Kindle stand and she could potato in her bed and she's just looking at. She has the clicker too.
Oh, yeah. So you don't
wow.
even have to.
No, you are burning 0 calories as you are reading. You're blinking, you're clicking, you are just existing. And then I didn't realize
Yeah.
reading could get any less physical than what it already was, but she found a way.
Love that.
A lot's changed since I'm that much more of a literate individual. So
I love that.
I love that for you.
thank you, thank you.
Glad that at least 2 out of the 4 of us are book girlies right now. Do better, you guys. Be more irresponsible with your
I'm
money.
saving money.
Welcome back, everybody, to Control Your Shelf. We are your 3 favorite book besties. I'm Lauren.
My name is Carlos.
And I'm Rose, and we are joined again with a special guest, Christian. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
Are you actually glad that we welcomed you back? Because this is
No, I'm
This
very
book-
happy. It's a lot of emotions. I was reading this mostly at work for the past 2 days.
Oh, at
Yeah,
work.
not the best. I was wearing gray sweatpants at work as I was reading because I'm allowed to wear whatever I want at work. Bad mistake. So like there's some parts of the book where I'm just like, I can't help out right now. I'll sit down. It's fine. It just looks like I'm
Oh,
scrolling TikTok, but little do they know it's just a whole bunch of it's a slurry of events. It's a lot. My palms are sweaty right now. My
Arms are
asthma's
spaghetti.
coming back. It's a lot.
What did we read, you guys? What did we read? It was this at this point is just a GM Fairy Stan account. I'm convinced.
it really is.
And we read Pounded by Produce by GM Fairy. So that was our journey.
It was a wild journey.
Yeah. Did you guys read the synopsis before you read it?
Sure didn't.
I did, but I didn't understand it. I was so confused. Like I read it, but it just didn't like click in my mind what was gonna happen.
Oh, okay.
So I basically went in blind.
Read the synopsis, still went in blind.
Yeah.
I mean, Lauren gave me a pretty thorough synopsis before I even knew what the book was. She said, okay, this is going to be fun. She sent me the book cover and she said it's about 2 priests that turn to vegetables. And I was like, you don't just stop there. Because already the cover art, it's like, there's only 1 tomato in the book, but yet they have 2 tomatoes in the book cover. Very deceiving.
You know what? True.
Where's the
Right?
continuity? Where is it?
That's just a random inanimate tomato next to Robert. So
Rose, do you want to give like a brief synopsis about what this book is?
Sure. So we start off with Emily, and Emily, she's kind of down on her luck. She left an abusive relationship. She's looking for a job. She sees, oh, there's an opening in a rural place where I can be a cook. She accepts it. Turns out it's at a monastery, and there happens to be 2 very hot priests. And I feel like that's as much as I can go into without giving any spoilers of what else happens, it's a pretty short book.
Yeah.
I was not expecting the priests.
Me neither.
When I read that, I
I think I skipped over that part in the synopsis because I don't remember reading any priests. And when I saw they were priests, my jaw dropped. I was like, "There's no way this is where we're going with this." Oh, I can't.
I think it's safe to say that I grew up Catholic, and not like this at all. I mean, no one was sexual at all. There was no electricity between anyone. It was just, yeah, every priest was geriatric, and yeah,
I
and
was
like,
gonna say no hot priests.
no, not at all. No hot nuns. No, the confessional booths are now tainted. Like, in I don't know. Like, I'm not really a churchgoer anymore.
Yeah.
But like, thinking back as a kid, if I had read, for whatever reason, no child should ever have this
Please.
book in their hand.
Yeah, no.
Because we obviously start out the book with Emily, our main gal, and she is just in her lowest of lows in her life. Like
Mhm.
Rose said, she left an abusive relationship and she finds this job in the middle of nowhere as a cook. And I can't remember for the life of me if she actually has chef experience or if she just called and was
Mm-mm.
like, I like to cook.
I don't think she does.
She
No,
doesn't. Because I think she said that the only experience she has is cooking for herself
Okay.
and her abusive
Yeah.
husband.
Right off the bat, I'm intrigued with how this interview process went because she must be a hell of a talker to be like, I have zero experience, nor did I go to a culinary school, but damn it, I love to cook, so hire me. What?
Zero background check.
Yeah, Gail was like desperate to hire someone because isn't that the person she was on the phone with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The nut.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they were just desperate and they were like, oh, you're the first one that applied or answered the ad. I don't even know how she got hired at this point. My brain is
Yeah.
like kind of fried from reading this.
I don't know why it was such a desperate position to fill in, because the cooks aren't gonna go hungry. They're fine. They could figure it out, right?
Yeah, can't. They're grown men.
There's a whole garden. They can figure it out.
And I love how these priests are meant to be like almost like little local celebrities. Like they can't cook for
Mhm.
themselves. They're like
Yeah.
swamped after every sermon, just with like old ladies that are like swooning. Like I kind of love it.
Oh, the ladies love them.
Yeah, where do they find the time to work out? Like, first of all, first smut book. So like every single time it says something like, and his hardened abs pushed up against so and so's erection. And like, first of all, so curious like how a tomato was gonna be used in this, and then found out quickly.
Chapter 4.
Does anyone want to like? Are we gonna start with her dream or just the transformation? Like,
Let's start with the dream. Or, well, let's start with when she gets there. When Emily first got there, she was like just describing that this was kind of like a haven for her. She was like, oh my gosh, we're like in the middle of nowhere on this little like
Mm.
farm, almost like house on the prairie style. There's some woods over there. Like it's just me, nature, and these priests. And she like obviously notices how attractive they are. And I think, what is it? Only a couple days maybe after working there, she has her dream.
I think it's the first night.
It is. I think it is the first night where she has this dream that she goes into, like where they hold their little. I don't even know what it's called.
Like the main area of the church.
Yeah, the main area of the church, and she's. What is she? Because I know she gets down to pray, but I don't remember what she's praying for. But I know she does make a joke about being a nun, where she's like I can be a nun. Oh, she starts having all the dirty thoughts about the priest, doesn't she? So
Yeah.
she's like, she starts like praying. Because I highlighted that line. Okay, I was so scared during that scene because I thought
Me
she was
too.
getting sexually assaulted, and I was like, what
Yeah.
the fuck is happening? And then it turned out that it was a dream, and I was like, okay, that makes more sense now.
Yeah, that dream was crazy. She was praying, and then like Robert just pops up to her left, and then Laurent
Do you
Uh,
guys want the quote?
Yeah, what's the quote?
So, Father Laurent walks around and down the pew until he reaches me, placing a large hand on my shoulder. Don't look so nervous. You asked God to fill you up, and here we are, ready to use you for his will. And then he's so hard, unlike any rooster I've felt before. He's also smooth, almost like a, I don't know, a cucumber. And then turns out, yeah.
so at this point, Rose and Carlos, you guys just were surprised because you guys didn't anticipate the priests being the main subjects at hand.
Correct.
So you were like, this is crazy. Like, who did you guys think the love interest was gonna be then?
I didn't know it took place in a church. I don't know. I think I read the wrong synopsis. But I did not expect it to take place in a church. So I was surprised by everything.
Yeah, they said priests. I don't know. And then they kept the use of father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like I need to drink bleach after reading this. Like I don't really know.
They say the word daddy god at the end of this book, and it is so alarming. Like, that's so much to just take in.
It's funny too because of course, like, with her calling them father and stuff like that, she definitely like says that she had daddy issues. And I'm like, of course. Because I think the quote is, I can't remember which priest says this to her, but they're like, "Then what are you? Your coworker, your father?" He smiles. "Did he just make a joke? A weird joke?" I stand picking up my bowl. Let's stick with coworkers. I already have enough issues with my actual father.
Oh yeah, that's when she was talking to Laurent in the kitchen.
They're eating cereal together, and then it goes into such a description about the milk dribbling off his chin. I'm like,
That was bananas.
Yeah.
so is every smut book this descriptive?
Yeah, I mean that's the point of the smut books.
You're right. Hey, yeah, I'm new to this. So like, just getting used to it. Just
Yeah.
thought they were gonna have a wholesome breakfast.
Oh no. Oh no.
And Laurent and Robert kind of have their own backstory when they went to seminary school together. A little bit of a forbidden love, perhaps. Carlos, you said that you were surprised that this book was gonna have some
Yeah, I
MM.
did not think it was gonna be an MMF. I thought it was just gonna be like a guy and a girl. I didn't think it was gonna be two guys, like, or it was gonna be like a love triangle type of thing where both guys were in love with the girl.
Oh
But
yeah.
I didn't think the two guys were gonna be in love with each other. That surprised me.
I mean, it was pretty intense.
Yeah.
It was because
Gosh.
obviously they're priests, so they can't touch each other. So what did they do instead?
Yeah, Christian, what they
Oh,
do
You're asking me.
Oh yeah, oh
Okay.
yeah.
In seminary school, they would talk about how when they would go to sleep at night, they would just hear heavy breathing and then look at each other underneath the sheets and act like nothing ever happened. And so, oh my gosh, and the office, their poor office at the parish just
Oh yeah.
just ruined twice throughout
Yeah.
this book. But yeah, they had, I was curious when they were first introduced what their chemistry was like, because it would kind of talk about like these little micro actions about like how Laurent
Mhm.
would put his hand on Robert's shoulder. I was just like, oh, they're just real buddy buddy, until they were more than, buddy buddy. It was a lot all at once, and I was just like, wait, whoa, is it going to be that kind of book? How's Emily going to tie into this? And so now I'm thinking, like, is Emily going to make them fight each other? Who's going to get jealous of what? And then we find out that they figured it out.
Started with stolen glances and turned into So much more. Although I will say, Robert was kind of being a little bitch throughout this whole book. He was pissing me off. Anybody else?
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
for sure.
especially like towards the end, whenever everybody else was on board, and he's just like, I can't, guys. I can't.
He's married to God.
Yeah, he just
Yeah,
has
he
to
is.
choose a side. Choose something. You're confusing everybody in the party. You know, everyone else kind of
Mhm.
knows what they want. But he just kept on going back and forth. So when Emily was getting pissed off, I was like, yeah, you rightfully so. It makes sense.
And there was kind of this little witch woman character.
Yes.
When Laurent and Robert weren't they like in the kitchen or something like that? And this woman just like comes from the shadows and they have zero questions.
Either I think they were in like in the like mass. Where is that? Like the
Wasn't
main
it at the end
area?
of, yeah, at the end of their like
Mhm.
their little preach session, everyone's
Yes.
leaving and that lady
And they
Oh,
like
thought they were
stayed, she like,
alone.
yeah. And then that lady was there behind them.
so
Little
creepy. Yeah,
witch.
this little witch.
So she looks at them and she says, Tonight is the harvest moon where spirits come to play. All that is hidden will be brought to light. You two need a transformation. It's up to you both to define the true fruits of your soul.
Dude, if I heard that, what would that even mean?
I don't know. I don't know.
No idea.
I'd be scared, first of all.
Yeah. Robert and Laurent get drunk off of like
Church
the
wine.
communion wine. Yeah. And they're like laying in the fields with all the vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
And they think that they're in this like wine induced stupor. And they turn into, for the first time, the tomato Robert and the cucumber Laurent.
They were vegetables. They were just saying that the ground below them was like shaking as Emily was approaching, and that's how they kind of knew that they were vegetables.
Yeah, it was giving fee fi fo fum in a big way.
Yeah.
Very, very, very that.
And they were able to tell that they were each other without even knowing, they look like a cucumber and tomato, yet they had this kind of sixth sense for each other
Connection.
that, like, yeah, that's Robert and that's Laurent. So
And Emily was confused because when she first saw the vegetables, because wasn't she like gathering produce for like the next meal or something?
Yeah, she was.
She was about to chop them up.
Yeah, but
yeah,
then she like was holding them and she was getting aroused and she
she
was like,
was.
I don't know why I have this feeling of arousal with this one specific tomato and cucumber. So homegirl takes him back to her room.
I know.
Just no other thoughts. Just walks to her room with these.
Okay, I have questions. You're supposed to, did she wash them first? Because they were just lying in the dirt.
I don't think she did.
She made a joke that she was like gonna get a yeast infection.
She did say
She
that.
did. She was like, "Well, that definitely gave me a yeast infection." I'm like, "Girl,
Come on, just clean it a little bit. You were in the kitchen at the sink. You could have done one more step before doing all those other steps.
do we think that could have drowned Robert in the rot though?"
No, I think like maybe, well, depending on how long you're washing it for, yeah, I think you're just bathing
Yeah.
them, if anything.
But also, I don't think they're like breathing when they're the vegetables.
I think it's proven that
Because I
they're,
mean, when
at least
the
Laurent's
cucumber
not
is
breathing.
like, yeah, I was gonna say when the cucumber's like in there, like obviously he's not breathing,
Unless he's
right?
gasping for air every single time he comes out, you know? Yeah, exactly. You know? And then, yeah, Robert's chilling. He could breathe. He's just going like this or whatever motion. I don't know. And tomatoes, in my history, they're thin skinned. So I was afraid for him.
Well, I mean, it did happen.
Yeah, you're
The
right. You're
pop,
right.
the pop did pop.
Yeah, there was a poppin'.
And then she thought she killed them.
I'd be afraid too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, yeah. That was crazy. And then also getting the POVs from Robert and Laurent in vegetable form, like
Yeah.
their thoughts. Laurent was the cucumber and he was like, this is my dream. Like, basically, my whole body is just being put in her insides and it's just warm and cozy in there. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
He was loving all of that.
And Robert was loving it too. He just liked watching.
He felt like he was atop a throne.
That's what he said. Yeah, he had a good view of both,
Yeah.
of everywhere. Yeah.
But from what I recall, she only really used them as vegetables twice.
Yeah, that's it.
And she woke up and Robert and Laurent were sleeping at her feet. And everybody wakes up and is just kind of like,
Freaking
that
out.
was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, they all thought it was a dream at first.
There's a quote from whenever this happens, and it's Robert's quote. Would you guys like me to recite this?
Cite your source.
And this is like towards the end. Towards the end of, their first act.
Yeah.
If my punishment from God for my thoughts is ending up a ketchupy mess across Emily's walls, I'll pay the price.
Ketchupy mess is
Yeah.
insane.
That's a choice.
Walls is crazy. The word choices in here, I've never witnessed in any form of literature. The amount of times, if I took a shot for every time I read the word swollen, I'd black out. I'd black out. It's
The
crazy.
C word. The C word.
The C word
was
Yeah.
crazy.
thrown around
Yeah.
like a frisbee is
Mhm.
crazy.
There was another one and it said, there's no way he could know what I woke up from, but goddamn does it feel like he can read me better than a Bible. Snaps for Emily. Snaps for Emily.
That's a good line. That's a good line.
That's a
Yeah.
good line.
That one's tasteful. That one's tasteful.
Aren't they like freaking out because she's just like, why are the two priests in my room at the end of my bed, and then the cucumber and tomato are gone?
Yeah.
And I think they say oh, that was us.
Yeah, I think they kind of confirm with each other.
But then there's no proof yet, so they're all
Yeah.
still kind of like not sure until that night again at dinner, right? Aren't
I
they
think
all just
so.
like at the table?
It happens again.
It's described as there's a pop and all of a sudden just a cucumber and a tomato are on the chairs and she's like, holy shit.
And she does it again, right?
Yes! She literally just picks him up, takes him to her room.
Doesn't wash them again.
We haven't learned.
Yeah, the priests have had a day and they turn into, their vegetable form. Come on, girl, wash them.
Please.
Wait, and then after this second vegetable sexcapade, they establish rules, right? Because they're saying we're men of God, but we can't do this since we're men of God. We can't commit sexual acts. However, we're not men of God when we're tomato and cucumbers. So whenever we're like that, you do with us as you please. Yeah, loopholes. I'm like, damn, these priests are really trying to figure it out.
That's insane.
Yes, but let's be clear. It was mostly Robert that was establishing rules. Laurent didn't give a shit. He was like,
No.
priest or no priest, we're having a threesome.
He was only there for Robert.
Oh my god. And then poor Gail.
Poor Gail. Well, she was on vacation for
Yeah, for most of the book.
what is the span? What is the timeline of this book?
I think this
I
all
don't know.
happens in a week.
Yeah, I feel like it's only a couple days.
And so she was supposed to be gone for longer. So that's her fault at the end. She should leave a message. She should text someone. That was her fault.
Yeah. While all of this madness is going on with Emily, Laurent and Robert are still super struggling with their feelings together. So they have a very intimate moment in a confessional where is it Robert that's going to confess his sins or no?
Laurent goes, yeah.
I mean, it's an actual confession at first, right? And then it slowly turns into a sexy confession.
Yeah, they both start choking the chickens and
choking the chickens. Oh my god.
It's funny how fast they escalate from feelings to belt unbuckling noise.
literally.
There's no buildup
No.
whatsoever. They don't
Yeah.
make out for that long if they ever do make out.
I don't think they make out.
No.
Yeah.
It was like a stolen kiss at one point.
Yeah, towards the end. Mhm.
Robert had kissed Laurent, and then as soon as Laurent went to, like, actually try and touch him, it, like, broke Robert out of it.
Yeah, he was gone.
Yeah, he was like, "We can't," and he, like, ran away.
But every other time it went from like, yeah, straight up, hey, I'm feeling this type of way, belt unbuckling noise.
And then Robert kept trying to pull out of their little sexcapades, trying to be all high and mighty, literally.
Well, after that whole moment, Laurent finds Emily in the woods.
Oh yeah,
They've got a moment because Laurent, we all know, like he doesn't care. He's like
he doesn't give a
vegetable
fuck.
or man. Like I like
Because
her.
this entire time, Robert's avoiding both of them actively because he doesn't want
Mhm.
to sin. And so she's just minding her own business, trying to collect produce. And then she hears some singing in, I don't know, some part of the woods near the garden or some shit like that.
It's like a
Mhm.
tree, yeah.
Yeah. And like, what are the chances that the series of events kind of unfolds the way it does?
Mhm.
Like, they sit close to each other. He's wearing that rubber ducky knitted sweater from one of the old ladies of the congregation.
Yeah.
And then she does. They're both laying down, facing each other at some point, and she does like the naughty thing of just like, so if you weren't a priest, what would you? If Daddy Robert wasn't applying all these rules, what would you do? And he was like, I'll start off with your lips, and then it just goes crazy from there
Yeah.
on a bed of leaves. On a bed of leaves.
Yeah, and she literally says, "Fill me, Father."
You know, I thought the word father was safe because, like, now that the word daddy has been kind of given this
Overdone, we'll say.
Mhm.
overdone, right? You know, daddy, zaddy, etc. I was like, okay, what can children call their parental figure safely? Father. I have
Father.
a coworker whose daughter calls her father, and now that's ruined. Like now, it's just
No, yeah.
No one is safe.
While all this is happening, like, yes, there was crazy sex happening, whatever. My head, I'm laser focused on this rubber ducky sweater. I am like, is GM Fairy giving us like a little insight to her next book? Like, what could rubber ducky sweater mean? Like, I'm trying to find the inner meaning of this fucking sweater.
is that something she does? Does she leave little clues about what her next?
GM does everything. She does.
She does everything. She does it all.
Oh, we know she does everything. She's a little freak.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here like, what like nostalgic children's story could she be trying to ruin next? I was like, Toy Story? Like, I was racking my brain and I just couldn't figure it out.
Wait, Toy Story would be crazy.
Wait, can we break that down? What are the characters from Toy Story? Is it Woody and Little Bo Peep?
Has to be Woody.
Woody?
Oh, with that
Oh.
name.
Wait, GM Fairy, please
And
watch
Buzz,
this.
like-
Please make it happen.
Oh, and
GM Fairy, if you're
Buzz.
listening, please. We need this from you.
Imagine.
Oh my god. But I was like, rubber ducky, what could it mean? She's probably sitting there like, girl, it doesn't mean anything. But I'm like, the
Nothing.
math is flowing around my head right now. I'm like, rubber ducky's a sign for her next book. And then there was some sex happening, but you know, I was deep concentration on this rubber ducky.
On that rubber ducky. Okay.
I also want to note that when they were curious about the curse, because they called it a curse, they were wondering if anything was going to happen to Emily. Specifically, Emily was worried about this. She's like, God, what's going to happen? Like, what if I turn into like a zucchini? And then she says, but then I think about the priests using my zucchini body to please them, and my fear washes away. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah.
That's insane. This is insane.
She's down. These people are down to give up their human form.
They're actually so down bad.
Yeah, it's funny
Yes.
that they're still not thinking clearly after they released 20 times in this book. They're just kind of like, I'm ready to get back. on the sat. You know, there's no post clarity, and they're just kind of like, I'm still ready to ruin my life for you.
Oh, yeah. 43% through this book, Emily says, and I quote, "alone with two of the sexiest vegetables in the world." That's a real quote from this book, and I
I
love it.
did highlight that too. I was like, not the sexy vegetables.
Wow. And so it gets crazier after that. So I was thinking like,
Yeah,
okay, Laurent got his time with Emily. What obviously there needs to be some balance brought into this universe. It's
of
not gonna be
course.
Mhm.
fair if Robert doesn't get his time with Emily. So like how's this gonna happen? Because Homeboy's being a little emo in his room, and he's just like, oh, watching her try to get her hat from the tree branch, right? And so he tries to help
Yes,
her.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then in rom-com style, she's trying to climb it. She falls down on him. They both fall. And then I was
Yeah.
confused because they exchange a kiss here. And
Yeah.
then like the next thing I read is that and that she's bleeding. And I'm like, "Oh my god, like what just happened? You bit her lip that hard. Are you up? What's going on? Is there that much pent up emotion that you just like ripped her lip off her face?"
I mean, yeah, what is it,
He's
like,
holding in a lot.
15
I
years
guess.
worth of no
Of no nothing, you're right.
sexual, yeah, anything except for his little jerk sessions with,
I like that you say jerk sessions, like they're scheduled.
"You'll know when I start heavy breathing."
Yeah.
Ew. And that's so funny that he even made a comment. He was like, I haven't heard you breathing through the walls in a while. Like,
Literally.
it's insane.
Oh my god. I would hate to be in that like that dormitory because I'm automatically a heavy breather because I have asthma. So they're constantly gonna think that I'm trying to have a session. I'm like, no, 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 no. I just forgot my inhaler at home, you know?
They're like, "Oh, you want in on this,
Oh,
sir?
Christian is
Okay."
Christian, it's not Wednesday. What are you doing?
Oh my god. And then, oh, I love when she refers to literal God as Daddy God. She says, "I guess it's time to talk to old Daddy God," and that's when she, like, goes to pray,
Oh, when she goes to the confessional,
which that was
that was crazy.
That was crazy.
Dude, what's up with all of them getting up at 2 in the morning and another person being like, you know what's great right now? If I were to get up at 2 in the morning and follow that person to the confessional booth. And it happens all the time that they're all waking up at the middle of the night.
It's part of the spell.
Yeah, they're meant for each other.
They
Yeah.
gravitate. That's a good
Mhm.
perspective. I didn't think about that.
written in the stars or something
Yeah.
like that.
That they were meant to do it in the confession booth. Yeah, you're right. It's just
Yeah,
that's
that
part of the
was
spell.
As soon as I read, there was a part in that scene where it was like Emily gets in the confessional and she's like, "Oh, wow, like this is rather spacious." And immediately I was like, something's going down in here. The fact that they had to justify that there was plenty of room for her to like be on her knees in there, I was like, here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, because I've been in a few confession booths when I was growing up as a kid. Not a lot of space. All of them are tight. So I'm trying to envision how big. Who was the architect? Who was the carpenter of this confessional booth? Just like, it'd be great an extra, more square footage, right?
But then you still lose because it's like, oh, the confessional booth is tight. Crazy.
Oh yeah, you're right. Never mind. Either way, it's
Wrong verbiage.
it's the sexy confessional booth. Either way you put it.
There is no winning in this parish, unfortunately.
no.
See, I thought this part was a dream. What happens next?
Oh, why? Because it was Robert? Or, well, you don't know it's Robert yet.
No, it's just a voice, right?
And he's like, "Get on your knees." And she's like, "Oh, okay."
She's like,
And
okay.
he says it with enough conviction for her to do a backflip. And I'm like,
Oh
you're
my-
done, girl.
I think after that, it's like either the next day or it's later on that day. I think it's the next day. She's like makes food for them because she's like, I'm not bringing them their sandwiches anymore. And Laurent comes out. Yeah, Laurent comes out to eat. And then Robert comes out and they're like, oh, Daddy came to join us. And Robert's like, shut up.
This is where they get caught, no?
Who did she tell first that she had a moment? Did she tell Laurent that her and Robert had a moment? Or
No,
she told
Laurent
Robert
says,
that her and Laurent did. And
Yeah,
then Laurent finds out, and that's when the kitchen scene
the
happens.
kitchen scene.
Yeah, because he's like, show me or something. Or
it
he's like, do you
happens
want
so
me to show
fast.
you? I was
It
like,
happens
what?
so fast.
It's literally, I got whiplash.
I thought they were hungry. I thought they were
Whiplash.
hungry. She's their cook. Oh my gosh. Imagine coming out for
They
a
were hungry for
sandwich.
her.
Oh God.
Oh
God.
my
And they
god.
filled her appetite, you know? It's
They filled up a few things.
she barely had a say in things. She was just like, am I being used to prove a point right now? And she didn't care.
Wait. I found an amazing quote. Sorry to bring it back to the confessional again, but when
God.
when Emily's going into the confessional, she sits down and she says, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned." Shit, that sounded legit. I can't believe I remembered that line from TV. Maybe I should come back when one of the priests is here so I can show off my Catholic skills.
Not the Catholic skills. This is crazy work. It's
Oh
I
crazy.
was
my
like, girl, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. And she's like, take
Wow.
that.
I know she's trying to confess her actual sins, but is also at the same time thinking like, oh, this could actually work in my favor. Being a good little Catholic girl.
Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. Back to the first
kitchen
meal.
scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kitchen scene. So Laurent's just going at
Go ahead,
it
Rose. Go ahead, yeah.
Emily, and Robert's sitting across watching and touching himself.
Dude.
And she's like
Crazy.
staring into his eyes.
That
Yeah.
Yeah.
is just crazy to me.
And isn't she like her back is on the table and she's like upside down, like looking at him?
Oh, is she?
I don't even know.
I don't
Maybe
know.
for half of the part, but I don't know if it's just like my mind trying to. First of all, so crazy that my imagination has gone through loops trying to figure out, like, especially in this 3-party system, how they're positioned and who's doing what and how she's being. Because I think she was laying back on the table, then she was flipped over, then bent down, and then Robert was still there in
Yeah.
the same position.
Yeah.
I think in that scene there's some spitting and just for lubrication. This entire time, like Robert's still thinking that he's a man of God because he's not partaking. He's doing it from a distance. He's like,
Right.
"This is fine. This is within like the
I'm not a
confines.
sinner.
I'm not a sinner. I just happen to be touching myself in a strategic way."
This is within regulation.
Yeah.
Carlos, who stumbles on in on their little party.
Good old Gail that was supposed to be on vacation, but she decided to come home early for some reason. And she stumbles onto this little party that's happening in the kitchen.
How old is this woman?
I think she has white hair. She's got to be
Oh,
older.
is she?
I hope she with a name like Gail. I mean, it's either if you're named Gail, Mildred, or Girdle, you're probably
Girdle.
Okay, I just tried to come up with a random. That's a name, right? Am I making that up?
Can't say I've met a girdle, but
Okay.
maybe
You
a
thinking like
Gertrude.
Gertie?
Gertrude.
Gertrude. I don't know where I got Girdle from.
I'm pretty sure a girdle is like an item.
Yeah, it's like a corset type of thing, I think.
Okay. Oops. My bad. Yeah.
Oh.
Wow, that's embarrassing. I wish I didn't say that, not only in public, but on a recorded medium for everyone to hear.
Editing, Lauren, don't edit it out.
Dude, there has to be one person out there named Girdle. I can't just be making that up.
Somewhere in the world.
Yep. Oh, and then Robert is so distraught about Gail coming in on them because obviously Gail snitches on them immediately.
Actually, Gail does not snitch.
Yeah, he self-reports.
To Bishop Archibald, yeah.
That's right, the bishop.
All she does is scream and run away as any human would.
Right.
Dude, I thought there was going to be a moment that she was going to join in. I
Me
thought
too.
there was going to be a moment. I'm like, come on, guys.
She's
Like,
like, ah! Oh.
because it's not too far. I mean, what else could happen at this point, right?
Yeah,
Just add a
honestly.
fourth person.
Yeah, but Robert is so distraught that he's like, "I am gonna become a monk." And I was
Oh, Robert.
deceased by that. Literally, he said, quote, "I'm going to become a monk. I found a monastery on a remote island off the coast. I leave tomorrow." I was like, "Okay, dramatics, like,
So dramatic.
please." He was so annoying.
Bar hopping from religion to religion until he just ruins every single position that he has. But yeah, he
Yeah.
was being super dramatic. He didn't have to do all that.
Yeah, he was like, "I hurt everybody that I love," and then that's why he told Laurent, he was like, "We can't be together because I'll hurt you too." Like, okay, tomato boy.
Being super cool and emotional
Wait,
right
did you
now. Like,
say tomato boy? Please.
do you guys have a preference of which vegetable you would have been between the tomato and cucumber?
I'd rather be the tomato.
Okay, yeah, I'd rather be the tomato too.
I would also rather be the tomato.
I'm down to be the cucumber. I feel like all sexual reasons aside, it'd be comfy. I don't like that sentence. Let's say, well, it depends on like what part of the cucumber. Where's his face? Is his face like being submersed, or is it like his body up to his neck? And so, like, if that's the case, that's kind of just.
It's kind of weird because we're like, does it have a face and like,
It doesn't have a face, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
like you just are the
it's
cucumber,
just
like
you.
all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, if I turned into a vegetable, I don't think I would be a tomato or a cucumber.
You want to talk about it? Because I've already thought about which vegetable I'd probably be. So you guys continue.
Say it. You first.
Tamarind. I don't know.
A tamarind? What the
It's
fuck
not
is
sexy.
that?
It's like a root. I think it's not a sexy vegetable at all. You could Google it. But I'm brown. A tamarind's brown. It's lumpy. I'm lumpy.
I'd probably be ginger.
We'd be like related because ginger's also a root and it kind of looks like a tamarind. Okay.
Because I'm all one color and a little spicy.
You are a little spicy, yeah.
I would be a fruit from my arm because it just makes sense, you know? I'd be a blueberry.
Oh,
I
blueberry.
could see that. I could see
Yeah.
you as a blueberry.
I'm trying to imagine if you were thrown in this situation as a tiny blueberry, you die. You're done.
And you know what? I'd rather be dead than be put inside somebody. So.
I feel like you guys could probably come up with something better than me.
I was gonna say a pepper.
Oh, a pepper.
Ooh, I like
A
pepper.
pepper.
Like a bell pepper.
Okay, I can fuck with the bell pepper.
Yeah.
that was weird. I should not have said that. I
Literally, yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
Literally.
This book has ruined vegetables. Now we can't talk about them without it being sexual.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to Whole Foods for another month after this book.
Yep, we might pick up the wrong cucumber.
Emily this entire time is being kind of swept back and forth whether she should feel guilty or if she should pin the blame on the priests. And how do you guys feel about that?
I felt bad for her.
She didn't try too aggressively to do anything with the priests. She was just kind of you're once again the missing piece to kind of the catalyst that made everything that
That's
made their
true.
true feelings come out, right? They just needed her.
Yeah, we don't even really see her cook that much. Like
Yeah,
sandwiches.
she made soup and she made sandwiches.
Did she get her first paycheck? Was she there long enough for her first
I don't
paycheck?
think she did.
Probably not.
Because it was a week.
Yeah, she probably didn't
Yeah.
even unpack.
That's why I've got some questions about the ending. When they're like, I know I'm skipping a little bit, but when they're like, yeah, we bought a farm. How? You could afford that?
Yeah, because priests, they have a salary, right?
But it's very little, I thought.
They're mostly paid by God.
They're paid with grace.
Yeah, you know what? They were probably making good money since all the ladies loved them. So
Emily also had a bit of a breakdown moment where she was like, Robert is gonna become a monk. Men are ruined for me now. Like nothing will compare to the three of us together. So I'm gonna nunnery, here I come.
Oh, she was dramatic too.
Oh yeah.
she is.
And she was trying to like bank on the other priests wherever she would become a nun, on the other priests just being old men. I'm like, girl, like, if this happened once at your first parish, it's probably gonna happen again. So she probably shouldn't be a nun after that. She eventually sees the witch, right?
Out in the garden.
She says, I think I can help you with your priests, or should I say your little produce pals?
I'm so dead.
And so the little witch lady tells her, like, hey girl, you guys are literally destined for each other. You're cut from the same cloth. Like, they're turning into vegetables because you guys aren't being truthful and honest. And she's like, oh my gosh,
That's what it
okay.
is. That's what it
That's what it
is.
is.
She says, I know it's kind of cliche, but it's only been a few days, but I think I'm in love with not one of them, but both of them.
It's literally in the next chapter. They're saying "I love you" to each other.
They don't
Do
know
you
anything
guys
about
even?
each other.
What's their last names? They don't know.
I was gonna say that.
I mean, if they're destined for each other, they don't need to know much about each other. They'll learn
Okay,
eventually.
They're written in the
valid.
stars.
They're fated mates.
Also, I need you guys to know that I looked up the VeggieTales character names, okay?
Yo, I was thinking, is this a VeggieTales like retelling? Because she does retelling.
Bob is his name
Bob the tomato, so Robert.
Wow.
And then we have Larry the cucumber.
Larry the
Laurent.
cucumber. Yes.
Whoa, oh.
You know what? I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I was thinking that because of her other books that she's written.
Yeah, we have even gotten to like the craziest scene.
Oh my
After
gosh. Okay.
the end.
I thought she was like pregnant or something, and I was like, ugh, she's gonna be pregnant? Like pushing out the baby.
Oh gosh.
They said
There's
we've always wanted to do this.
they have a threesome two more times after she talks to the witch, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the first time after they talk to the witch, Laurent is doing stuff to Robert while Robert's doing stuff
Oh,
to
yeah.
Emily, right?
Right,
Mhm.
right.
That one, I'm like, that's pretty crazy. That's a lot that's happening. Like, how could it get any worse? And they're still doing this in the parish or like in the kitchen where they're fired from, right? They're like, one last time. Let's paint this place one last time.
Yeah.
But then after they buy the farm, that's when the craziest scene happens. And I could not. Still, once again, if I can preface reading this at work, this last scene, my jaw drops trying to
Yep.
understand or trying to paint the picture in my brain, and I'm like, I don't know if that's physically possible.
Well, they decide to live on this vegetable farm happily ever after and to consummate, I don't know, their their new journey in life together. Robert and Laurent fill Emily up together. 2 cucumbers, 1 hole.
And there's a beautiful
And they
quote
fit
from
perfectly.
this scene.
They do. They
Yeah.
He fits
do.
us so perfectly.
Wait, how does she casually get up and walk to the shower after this?
I don't know how this girl is alive.
How are you not crawling to the shower? How is there not a wheelchair on site for you? Because this is, and they're described as 2 men over 6 feet.
Well endowed as well.
She's a tiny girl. She's 5'3", just becoming a skewer.
She's a warrior.
Not the warrior.
She's a trooper.
She is God's strongest soldier.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then at 99% through the book, we get, who knew I didn't need religion, but that gods would find me and bring me to my heaven. I wish I knew who to praise. I don't think it's the Catholic God. All of this doesn't really feel like his style. I think we can confirm that.
Yeah, probably not
Yeah.
the way he teaches lessons.
And then the last line, the tale of the veggies who found love.
The Veggie Tales.
I follow GM Berry on Threads, and she basically said that she has some religious trauma and that writing this was very like cathartic for her.
Wow.
Okay.
What a girl to tackle, to try to take vegetables, priesthood, and just kind of mash it together into one smut book.
This was probably one of the more wild stories that I've ever consumed.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I've read some crazy things, and I think this is maybe the craziest. I don't know. Like, even over all the extreme horror and everything like this,
No.
I just can't get with the vegetables in the body.
So, Christian, how would you describe your first smut book?
What grading scale do I use? Where do I even begin? Do I talk about the plot? Do I talk about
I mean, we always rate books out of 5 stars. And for me, I try and rate books based off of what they're supposed to do, right? Like
Mhm.
a smut book, especially like supernatural kind of erotica, is
yeah.
supposed to be very outlandish and
Mhm.
crazy and just like take you out of reality and just be super slutty. And dang it, it did its job. And so
It
for
did.
that, I am giving this book a 4 star.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
I also gave it 4 stars.
I'm shocked. I'm so shocked.
When I finished it, I was like, this was fucking insane. You know, it was crazy. It did what it had to do. I thought it was good. I give it 4 stars.
I'm
Yep.
so dead. I would have thought, I was literally, as I was reading this, I'm like, oh my God, Carlos is going to give this a 2. He's going to fucking hate this book. I'm so
No, I
happy.
loved it. I do want to read more
Oh,
by her now.
okay.
Okay, you're gonna be a little disappointed now that Carlos gave it a 4.
Oh god.
Listen, I okay. I'm gonna rate it for what it is, right? It was an insane smut book. I've read her other books and I love them. Those are also insane smut books. I think I couldn't get past all the father, filmy, and daddy god.
Your voice trembled as you said father.
Listen, I'm giving this a 2.5. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't.
Oh my God.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I couldn't get past it.
What raised it for me too was the fact that it was an MMF and not just an MF.
Yeah, for sure.
In terms of what it's intending to do, I get it. As my first smut book or introduction into the smut world, dude, okay, first of all, I work a graveyard shift, so it's already odd to be reading this book at 3 a.m. Like the time that these priests get up to go do naughty stuff. It did its job. I'm not gonna rate it on its plot. Like the story, I'm not gonna break down like how I would break down like a Tarantino movie or something like that. That'd be ridiculous. But the imagery, the words used, uh, it was a roller coaster ride. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5 because
Okay.
Wow.
I was able to understand it very much on what Rose was talking on. It's a lot when you're seeing words like daddy god or yes father and a confessional booth getting just
Mhm.
destroyed. Who cleans up? Is there a janitor that like
That's a great question.
because they're farmers, they're old women going there to pray, and
Right.
do they not sniff around? They're just like, whoa, this is something happened here hours ago. I was never bored
Certainly not.
the entire
Agreed.
Yeah.
time. I think the biggest gasp moment I had was when Gail walked in, and at that
Yeah.
point, I
Mhm.
did bring it up from like a 2.5 to a 3.
Okay.
Mhm.
But is this going to be the first book that I recommend to a friend? Far from it.
Fair.
But I had a good time. It's a lot, and there's like a lot of different dynamics to it. I mean, it was interesting that it's two priests, first of all, that are not into just one girl. It wasn't just they were kind of into each other, and so it did complicate kind of some things. And so I was like, okay, I'm kind of down to see what happens.
I think Laurent said it the best when, we finally get to the end and he was like, we have the rest of our lives to play around with the combinations. So,
Amen.
And they live happily ever after, forever and ever. Amen.
We love a happy
Oh,
ending. We love a happy ending.
Oh, they love happy endings. Yeah.
And I'm happy for them. You know, they are made for each other. And I hope they live long, beautiful lives together on their vegetable farm.
I'd be interested to see what this story looks like in like 500 pages instead of like whatever it was, like the 200 or something.
Yeah. You know what? We'd probably get more Laurent and Robert scenes. I feel like it needed a little more of them, you know? Just them two together.
Emily did give them
yeah,
a slight
I agree.
moment where she just leaned back and just let them make out, and she was like, wow, this is happiness.
Oh yeah, she was like, "Oh, this is dope."
Gail and Emily's little chit chat at the end when Emily
Mhm.
was like, they were just on their way out. Emily was like having one last something. And yeah, Gail was just sitting there drinking something, and she was like, I don't blame you. Look at him. I was like, Gail.
Yeah, she was like, I've lived life. I've seen my fair share. And she was like, "Yeah, okay, we
Mhm.
see what you've done, Gail. We get it."
Gail's freaky.
Because I'm pretty sure on the cover, doesn't it say that it's like a veggie love story? Like there could be more veggie love stories.
You know what? Maybe Gail is like Madame Blueberry, and then Bishop Archibald is gonna be like, I don't know, Larry's dad. So he's also gonna just be a cucumber. I don't know.
Percy the Pea. Oh, she could do a lot with Mr. Lunt.
Mr. Lunt? Do I even? I watched VeggieTales religiously as a
I've
child.
never watched VeggieTales.
If you like to talk to tomatoes, Mr. Lunt. Okay, let's see.
Wait, I didn't know VeggieTales was like a Christian
Yeah.
animated series.
Yes.
Wait, that makes so much more sense now.
Exactly.
Wait, I'm shook.
I would say, obviously, you wouldn't recommend this to just like your average Joe, right? But
No.
like
Yeah.
someone that
No.
is specifically looking for like a wild time who has read smut.
A seasoned reader.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's like a specific person that you would recommend this for.
Yeah, if they're specifically looking for something wild, then I'd be like, "Yeah, hey, check this out." I read it.
For sure.
No, but it was entertaining.
Yeah.
Funny as hell. Funny as hell.
So funny.
And now I know to expect if I read another one for whatever reason, if I happen to. But now I'm kind of primed for it because I think I kind of hit the ground running with this one.
You could say Robert and Laurent really primed you.
I don't know if I'll say that. It's completely fine. Yeah, these
Okay.
two 6-foot men just really primed me for. Thank you for having me back to read this. Yeah,
Yeah, thanks for being on and reading this book.
it was really fun. Like, all jokes aside, it was really fun, really funny. It's always nice chopping it up with you guys. And I really appreciate you guys having me back on. This was a good time.
You're always welcome.
I'll rate it higher, GM. Don't hate me. I still love you, okay? I just can't get past the priests, okay? Love you, girl.
Oh my gosh. Well, you can find me on Instagram at Lauren H. Wrights and the podcast at Control Your Shelf _pod on Instagram.
You can find me on Instagram at Kingdom of Books and on Twitch at Carlos Kings. Even though I haven't streamed, but I will eventually.
And you can find me on Instagram or YouTube at Flower Reads a Lot.
And you can find me at Christian Has Asthma. I do have asthma on Instagram. And follow my podcast. Follow me at ICBTB Podcast on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. That stands for It Can't Be That Bad Podcast. Yeah, I talk to a lot of the talented people in the Bay Area, and I just like to shoot the shit with people, and it's a good time. Yeah, thanks, y'all.
Our outro segment. We're going to do a reader rec.
Yeah.
Wow, did people really recommend us books?
Okay, so we have a reader rec from Ayan _Ayer, Aier, not sure. And she would like to see us read Sword of Kaigen.
Period.
Ooh,
Yes, by Emma Long.
I really want to read that.
I'll finish it, girl.
You've been saying that though. You bad saying that, but you know what? It's fine. I have faith in you. I feel like we're all gonna read it eventually, so yeah, that would be a fun episode.
That would be a fun episode.
And I'll actually finish it if we make it an episode.
What is the genre of this book? This is a fantasy?
Fantasy.
See, that's something I'm trying to start getting into because I have a lot of friends that read fantasy right now. I'm like, I guess I should start.
All I know is that it has elements of Avatar: The Last Airbender and samurais,
Nice. Sold.
Ooh.
Easy.
but I don't know what the actual plot is.
And maybe that's for the best. I really enjoyed going into Blood Over Brighthaven blind, so I feel like
Mhm.
that little taste is all I need.
Agree.
Okay, good rec, good rec. Sorry guys, I really have to go to the confessional to meet my father, so
Okay, yeah, you have fun with that. You go cleanse yourself of those dirty, dirty sins.
I'm resigning.
amen.